Hello, hello. This is Fake the Nation, where we talk about news, we talk about culture, and where we marvel at the sheer volume of Mormon women on television. What is going on, and how have they captivated all of us so thoroughly? I'm your host, Negin Farsad, and I'm so excited to be told what is going on by our esteemed panelists. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about elsewhere in culture, the Justin Trudeau news, which is also of a romantic quality. We're going to talk about the $6 billion donation to kids by Michael Dell. We're going to talk about how affordability is a hoax. Thank God someone has said it. It's been said, and now we're going to talk about how it's a hoax. We're going to talk about how both parties are super angry, and the acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, or just Warner Brothers. I don't know. It's a complicated set of things that are happening over there in Hollywood. So to do all of this chatter, I am joined by two incredible giants of the industry. I am joined, you've heard her on the show before so many times. You love her on this show. She is a beloved actor, comedian. I'm going to say comic pundit here on the streets of New York with the very popular UCB show they have called 3 Beers In. Is it called 3 Beers In?
Well, actually, we just did a rebrand.
Oh,
our show
shit.
is called Not in My Backyard.
Oh,
And
now it's called Not in My Backyard.
It focuses on local politics.
Oh, which, by the way, heated. And also, New York City politics are local, but they're also national.
That's true.
Because we fucking get into it on this pod, even though, just probably because I'm a New Yorker, but like also because everyone talks about Mom Johnny and all that stuff, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Not in My Backyard, their beloved show here in New York City. It is Cody Linquist. I haven't said your name. Cody Linquist,
Hello.
you guys. Also, you've heard her voice on so many of the shows that you know and love. What are some of those shows?
I was on a show called Our Cartoon President.
That's right. That's the one I was thinking of.
On Showtime, and I do a lot of television commercials, too.
She's probably the voice of like your favorite detergent or something, and you don't even know.
Yeah, actually, Woolite. I did do a couple
Shut the
Woolite
fuck
commercials.
up.
So you picked the right product.
Cody, I don't mean to brag right now, but I was the voice of Frito-Lays for a minute.
I mean, look.
And you look at me, do you think potato chip? Because that's what I want you to think with this voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are also joined by, oh my gosh, he is a comedian. He's a director. He is the founder of Improv Everywhere. And he is also one of the co-hosts of the beloved Not in My Backyard show at UCB here in New York City. He is the incredible Charlie Todd. Hey, Charlie.
So happy to be here. And we should clarify that we're married.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. It's so funny because I meant to ask you before. Do you want to keep that a secret?
So we host our podcast, Not in My Backyard, every month. It's a live podcast, always live at UCB. And we always, when we're introducing the show, we let the audience know that we're husband and wife, just in case something weird comes up.
It'll
in
come up. We're
conversation.
Just in case you guys like start making out in the middle of the show.
We often make out. You know, you just can't make out like that at home.
No, you can't. There's nothing like the thrill of an audience who's not there for it.
Yeah, it feels weird to always say you're married, but then clearly it's going to come up at some point.
Well, it's so funny because I know a couple comedians who are married who very explicitly never say it in public.
Oh,
and so, or they'll be on the same lineup and it will not come up. I was on the same lineup with one. They had a child. They were both doing jokes about having a baby, but as if they were different babies, you know? And it's like, that's the same fucking baby we're talking about.
I think that's useful for a stand-up because a stand-up is going to make up half their stories about their child anyway. So you don't want it to be fact-checked by someone later.
Right. You don't want the story to be contradicted.
That's true.
Well, folks, we are about to get into the show, and before we do, I just want to remind listeners there are still tickets available for the Muslims are coming in DC on December 12th. That's Friday. So if you're in the DC area, come on out on December 12th. It's going to be super fun at the Atlas Theater. And if you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/Negin Farsad. And let's just fucking get into it. Let's get into it with topic number 1. Mormon women are so popular right now. And I actually remember feeling so shocked that they were doing a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Of course, there's only one real practicing Mormon cast member, a lot of former Mormons on that show. There's another show called The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. There's Mormons on Dancing with the Stars. There's a Mormon starring in The Bachelorette. And yet another one taking a plum role on Broadway's Chicago. So my question for you guys is, what is going on? And why am I so shocked? But also, why is it taken so long? There's so many conflicting feelings about this phenomenon.
Yeah, thank you for bringing on two very vocal atheists to talk about Mormon culture. Charlie and I are both very vocal about our atheism. So Charlie and we watched television together, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah.
And we were so excited.
As a married couple would.
Yeah, we love a documentary. We love something debunking a thing. And we clicked on Secret Lives of Mormon Wives thinking it was going to be this like documentary about some seedy thing.
Right.
And we were 10 minutes into an episode. We were like, oh, this is a reality show.
Yeah,
not
just straight
our jam,
up.
not our jam. So we turned it off. I grew up with a lot of Mormons. I have to say I'm a little shocked by the salaciousness of the
right, because they're hot and they're makeup and be Botoxed.
Yes,
and
yes,
it's not, because I grew up with not a lot, but a handful of Mormons, you know, as one does in Southern California. And I remember, and they were just very chaste, very,
the nicest people, like gee golly, willikers,
totally.
no cursing,
No
just very
caffeine, no
clean.
alcohol, no very clean.
So I just learned something really interesting about the caffeine, because I've grown up my whole life and I knew like one Mormon. I grew up in South Carolina, but I have always been told they can't have caffeine. But then in reading this article about the Mormon trend, they just can't have hot caffeine.
Wait, what?
So there was like a famous incident where Mitt Romney was photographed drinking a Diet Coke when he was running for president. People were like, oh, Mormons can't do that. And they said, but actually what the Mormon scripture says is no hot beverage that has caffeine in it. So they can't have coffee or tea.
Wait,
they can have a Coke.
That book got weirdly specific.
That is so...
I didn't know that. You're breaking news right now, Charlie, is what's happening. Yeah.
I read Under the Banner of Heaven, which is a wonderful book about it's a true crime, but it's also the history of Mormonism.
Yeah, it's actually a great book.
It was really wonderful. Did not mention hot caffeine or cold caffeine.
And that author is now canceled.
Yeah. Well, also, he is.
No, he's not. Okay, I'm just saying he's missing the boat on this one detail.
I assume every man is going to be canceled at some point. So I'm like, sure.
I should like be careful with how I throw that around because it's so believable for everyone.
Did they have cold caffeine back when?
Was iced
Joseph
coffee?
Smith
Was iced
around?
coffee a biggin like in back in the days of Brigham Young?
Not that long ago, right? We're talking 18
what? 40s or something.
Yeah. That's one thing that's interesting about the Mormon religion. It's pretty recent. Like,
There
there's
were
some people that
newspapers around.
know a guy who remembered the guy who wanted to have
a bunch of
wives, who found some plates in his backyard that told him that he could have extra wives and sleep with people
for the record,
underage.
And as you mock the religion, I also want to say I kind of have mocked every religion.
Yeah,
those stories in every religion, just so we know,
we
we mock all of them.
The stories in the Bible.
And I'm a Muz. Feel free. It's maybe a touch more weighted to mock Islam, but
would you like to mock Christianity since you grew up in the faith?
Yes, I grew up Presbyterian, and you can read the book of Leviticus about how you can't eat shrimp and you can't have sideburns. I mean, there's all sorts of.
What about cold shrimp?
They only had famously warm shrimp back then. Very warm.
But what I've always found it interesting about Mormonism is just that it's not that old.
It's not that old.
These 2,000-year-old rules, and you're like, okay. And I mean, Scientology is taking it to the nth degree. Where it's like, this guy made this religion up in 1960.
Right.
But yeah. I think that is part of the fascination, though, with Mormons and maybe this trend is just they do have a lot of secrecy. Like, we're not allowed inside a Mormon temple.
Yeah.
If you leave the church, you can't go to your relative's wedding inside a Mormon temple if you've left the church.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
And if you're an outsider, I don't think you can set foot in there.
No spectators. Got you.
And also, women are not allowed to be in the leadership of the church, which is really interesting that all these women are breaking out now and showing, being like girl boss.
And that's one of the things that I found shocking too about the real Mormons that are on the shows, which is like I had a friend who was doing like a big deal, very public, taped kind of let's call it a performance. I don't want to blow up her spot. And she was talking to me about like, she's Mormon. She was talking to me about like she didn't know what to wear because she didn't want to get kicked out of the church. And I was like, oh, like, and she's like, because I really would love to wear this thing that's sleeveless.
Yeah, and they have the
And
underwear that
and
covers
she
their
can't,
arms.
right? And
Yeah.
she's like, I can't wear that because then they'll, if this gets seen widely,
I think it's
it'll get-
weird that
and
God
I
would
was
be
like,
so
oh.
specific about your clothes.
About sleeves.
I'm
Well, I mean, I say that
just-
for every religion. Why,
One thing that all religions have in common, they police what women wear. Isn't
Yes,
that
they love
interesting?
that.
Also, I want to point out, Joseph Smith came back from his head in the plates and said, God said I should, have sex with other women and marry them. And then his wife said, God told me I should marry other women. And then he came back another day with his head in the plates and said, no, God said it's just me. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
We're finding
Very
commonality in all of the religions.
so one of the things that I find interesting about the trend is that it's also in social media because they've really taken over the trad wife.
Yeah.
Do either of you guys?
Am I a trad wife? Are you asking, Charlie? Am I a trad
wife? No, but like I don't. There's no trad wifiness in my feeds. Okay,
I mean,
let's just say this for the record.
I'm from South Carolina, so if I follow a lot of people from back home, they don't call themselves trad wives, but certainly there are. There's a lot of tradition in the South.
People making papyrus from their
it's
chopped
not
up
as,
trees
I
or
would
whatever.
not say it's as overt as that. No. It's none of that trad. I did one time. I clicked on something that somebody shared.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of trad wife stuff in my feed.
Right.
And it was very weird.
I find it much easier to kind of retain your Mormonness in that trad wife sphere because they're like just preaching the thing,
Yeah.
I think it in like Real Housewives and like these kind of reality shows that are more salacious, I can see that being so much harder because you do want to not be kind unto others as you are unto yourself or whatever. Like you want to be like, I'm not here to make friends. Whereas Mormonism would suggest that you are here to make friends.
Yeah,
you're here to make friends and you're here to be kind. And you're maybe also here to like proselytize and change people over. You know what I mean? And so, but in shows like that, that's not like necessarily awesome TV watching,
I am the only middle-aged white woman that does not watch reality TV.
I don't watch it.
Except for The Traitors. I love The Traitors.
Yeah.
That's a great one. But that's all
Peppermint,
of them
Fake the Nation alum, was on The Traitors.
Yeah. She got voted off really quickly.
She did, but I heard that she made an impression.
She did. She was great.
Well, I don't know. Here's one thing that we read. By the way, we read this piece in the New York Times about this trend. And one quote from it is from the author of the book, Bad Mormon. She said, I was an indentured servant to my family and husband and church. And I think it's really hard to say. That when we've been trained our whole lives to spin it positive, but we're also trained our whole lives to spin our Instagram posts positive too. Suggesting that like what you see on TV is a little bit of PR for them,
100%.
But
it's
also,
all PR.
Everything is all PR. Not to say that Mormons are like the only ones out here doing PR. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a Muslim. I'm doing plenty of PR.
I think it's very interesting to me that people look at things on social media and think they're real. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, oh, come on. Your hair is perfect. You made this perfect, beautiful cake.
Yeah.
Your children are perfect. We all know that, like, even if you're not doing it as PR, it's like my photo album. I'm not putting the photos, like the worst photos of my children in a photo album.
No.
Back in the day, you would pick the one where everyone's eyes were open and looked
right,
best. So
right.
even if you don't look at it in a malicious way, we're just, we're trying to post our best. It's fine.
I think that quote's really interesting, though, because the Mormon women who have to put on a good face, and I'm sure there are plenty of Mormon women who are totally happy in their religion and they have wonderful husbands and a great relationship with their church. But this woman in particular is saying she didn't have that, and she had to pretend that everything was great and put on this great face and present her life. And that is exactly what social media is. So there's maybe these women are really well trained for a social media reality star lifestyle of presenting your best self.
Yeah, and also, once again, we're making women do things that they don't want to always do. do, and they have to live up to a really
Yeah.
unrealistic standard of beauty and ideals.
And it doesn't matter what religion you're in, that's
Yeah,
what's happening.
That's what, again,
Yeah.
we make them wear all the
That's
religions.
right.
That's what everything has in common. And non-religious people too. Society, how we treat women.
Yeah. So there's
It's
that.
great.
And I just want to say that I've performed in Salt Lake City, and listeners might know this, but there's a scene in the movie The Muslims Are Coming, which I made 10 years ago, of which I am making a sequel. We'll talk about that another time. Anyways, and in that movie, we performed in Salt Lake City, and then we also stood in front of the Mormon temple soliciting hugs. With a hug a Muslim sign. And I'll tell you, Mormons will hug a Muslim
They love to hug.
so hard.
They are the kindest people.
They're
I
really
have to say
kind, and they're
very
really
kind.
and they have a crazy work ethic. And so, anyways, this is just an interesting cultural phenomenon. Yeah. And I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but I am trying to shit on everybody.
Let's do equal opportunity.
The last thing I'll say is Mitt Romney being the most famous Mormon
Yes.
that I know. I didn't like Mitt Romney and pounced on binders full of women and
Yeah.
every little gaffe that he made.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're all lucky that Obama got reelected. But they put out that documentary on Romney a few years
Yeah,
after that. I was like,
yeah.
this guy's actually a really nice guy. We've learned since Romney how bad Republicans can be.
Yeah.
and before-
Well,
and-
he stood up to some, Trump bullshit, whatever,
Yes, he did.
So
Yes, he did.
absolutely. He did put his car on a rooftop. His
dog,
dog on a
Yeah.
car.
And he had
What?
a car elevator. An elevator for his car, and then he put his dog in a crate on the car.
Two different stories.
There's a lot of car
he had
stuff
a
with him.
garage,
Yeah.
right. And I'm gonna say there's a lot of car stuff with all of these guys.
True. Men and cars.
Men and cars, why? All right, let us move on. Let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about politics. And we are back, and we're ready for topic number 2. So, Michael and Susan Dell have donated $6.3 billion to children's savings accounts that they're calling Trump accounts. And each account will be seeded with $250. The children born during the 4 years of President Trump's second term will get federal seed money of $1,000 each. Look, we all have children here. And I believe we could straight up open up one of these accounts for our own children.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Trump accounts?
I think
Dude,
it's
you're
great.
getting a Dell account. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
I
had
know
to do
someone
it.
had to do it, even
I
though
had
when
to.
was that commercial? 15 years
It
ago.
was very
Longer.
formative for
yeah,
us.
no, absolutely.
Though.
I grew
At
up.
my age,
We
it was
grew up on that
formative.
commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I think this is great. I think one strategy with Trump is just let him put his name on things.
Yeah.
If it's good, the Trump
Yeah.
administration it seems like they're finally gonna with Amtrak are gonna redesign Penn Station and actually put up the money to give a great Penn Station for us.
Yeah.
Love it.
And if we want to at least tell him before he dies that we're gonna put Trump
His name,
Let's
yeah.
call it Trump Station.
Yeah.
Let's call it Trump Port Authority. Let's call it Trump New Pedestrian Bridge over the East River.
Right.
Just tell him that, and eventually we'll take the name off.
Yeah.
He's
Of
going to be
course.
dead before anything is built, so we can just lie and then we don't have to call it.
But if we have to call them Trump bonds, and that means that we have, savings accounts for every child
Yeah.
born in America, then that's great. And Cory Booker's been trying to get baby bonds done for a long time. The power of compound interest, when our kids were born, we put money into a 529 savings account, and it's been shocking to see how that grows. It's not timing the market; it's time in the market. It's
Yes.
great financial advice.
Yep.
I'm not a financial advisor, but I think in New York City public schools they have this thing called Kids Rise, where every kid gets $100 in an account, and it's been really frustrating me because we get these constant emails about how to opt out of it, and they just shouldn't even let people opt out of it. Just give them
take it.
$100.
Yeah.
Don't tell them they got $100,
Yeah.
and then 18
and they
years
don't,
later,
you're
it's-
automatically in
Yeah.
unless you opt out, which I don't know why you would.
Yeah, that's amazing. P.S. I haven't been getting these messages about opting out, so I'm like, what email list am I not on that you guys
The
are
good
on?
one. Apparently,
Oh my
the
God.
good one. Yeah.
I do want to mention, though, the difference between Cory Booker's baby bonds. By the way, he was asked, what do you think about Trump accounts? And he was like, it's a step in the right direction. Why would he say it with a little bit of qualification there?
Right.
he didn't wholeheartedly be like jumping for joy. And the reason is because baby bonds were designed for $1,000 for every child and annual payments of as much as $2,000 for families living below the poverty line. It was a progressive baby bond formulation in which the poorer you were, the more money you got into your account, and you got it every year. So that by the time, now here's the difference. If you get that $250 in year one from the Trump accounts, the balance reaches $5,839 by age 18. Okay, so
doing
that's
nothing.
Doing
Right.
nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Now that's not bad, right? It's like a little something, a little boost.
That'll buy you 4 books.
It'll buy you
college.
4 books and like a couple of slushies.
Yeah.
However, in the Cory Booker's version of this, the contributions to a baby's account would result in $46,250 for the poorest 18-year-old. Now that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like imagine starting school with money to pay for your books, with money to eat some food, with money to, you know what I mean? It's like that's a meaningful amount. Again, it's not even with the cost of college these days, but assuming they're getting other forms of financial aid or whatever, $46,000 could like take you somewhere. And they did a pilot program of this in Oklahoma called Seed OK, and they found that basically the effect of these accounts. So again, it's a step in the right direction. Let's fucking keep doing this shit.
Yeah.
But the effect of these things is that it makes parents kind of like more excited about financial planning for their kid, and then it makes the kid more excited. Like everyone knows that something is coming.
Yeah, and also it's just like anything, if you see that money's going up, you're like, oh, maybe I'll add $10. Maybe I'll add what I can. As someone who had to pay for college myself, those decisions and that kind of money would have been like life-altering for me. I paid off my loans in my 20s slowly, and I was lucky to like have some success and make some money. But like all of my decisions about college, about my future, all of that was related to
money,
where I could go, where I got the most scholarship money. And it's life-changing. And going to college is life-changing. We're at this time where people are saying you don't need college. And I agree with that. Like, I think I don't want to disparage trade schools, although this money could be used for trade school. You could become a plumber. You could become, this is, I think, the only thing that's not going to be fixed by AI, plumbing and like electricians.
We're going to have a glut of plumbers because I hear everyone being like, I should go into plumbing. My kid should go into plumbing. Something about plumbing. It's like,
the Mario Brothers knew what they were doing.
No, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, all of these things, you can use this money for that. But I do think there's something about going to college and changing your socioeconomic status and level by surrounding yourself with certain people. I mean, I went to a really good school, that just automatically put me in a different
echelon. Yeah. Absolutely. Same here. One thing I will say too about how we think about these things is like, thinking back at the pandemic, we actually to a certain extent eliminated child poverty through
it's back, baby.
Don't worry. Back. It's totally back. As are cargo pants.
Woo-hoo!
But
and zip off pants. You can zip off the cargo,
that's right.
So
that's right.
Shorts.
But I just feel like one thing. This is my concern. I want more people to Michael Dell it up on the federal end and put money in a progressive fashion or equally into accounts as opposed to relying on, do I have a rich aunt who will put some money into this account?
Fuck this. Why are we wanting...
Trump accounts are going to end up benefiting middle class kids who don't need as much of a leg up.
But why are we relying on the Dells to do anything? The government should do it. We should be just waiting for these nice billionaires to decide that they want to put their money in this thing.
It's lovely that Susan and Michael Dell want to give every child $250 in our country. That's great. Thanks to them. But they should, if we tax them 2% more, would that be the same amount?
Then the government can make a decision.
By the way, they still have
science.
another $14 billion, so they could that they could play with.
Yeah.
So they could actually just have given more than $250. Anyway, that's a side note. But also bless their hearts, whatever. That's really nice. I think you're both absolutely right. To me, taxation
Taxation.
What?
Who
Guys, has
knew?
anyone thought about taxation?
It's crazy. The government's supposed to decide the best way to serve everyone in the country rather than letting some billionaires go, do you know what I think? I think everyone should get a nose job. I'm going to put $250 towards anyone who wants to get their nose done or whatever pet project they have.
Right.
I mean, this happens to be a good one.
Nose jobs for all babies.
Yeah, that's where I'm putting my money.
Okay, well, let's move on to another issue in politics. We are bailing out the farmers. Trump is launching a $12 billion bailout for struggling farmers, a bailout they needed because of a tariff war that Trump created. So fun. And elsewhere in the economic policy world, farmers need a bailout, but also affordability is a hoax. So both of those things are true. It's, quote, a con job by the Democrats, says Trump. So what is the economic message of the Trump administration?
I just love that Trump keeps learning new words. I mean, he grew up so sheltered in such a just particular way that I literally think he discovered the word groceries last year.
Yeah,
like
no,
around
he
a year
really
ago,
did.
someone in a meeting, in a campaign meeting, strategy meeting was like, oh, yeah, people are mad at Biden because of grocery prices. And Trump was like, groceries? What does that word mean?
He's never been to a grocery
I
store.
feel like
He's never been to a grocery store. Please prove me wrong. Someone show me a
there
photo
was, I
of
think
him
there
at a
was
grocery
a
store.
campaign stop at a grocery store, which was maybe his first grocery store because he was
it a
stunned
grocery
by
store,
how many
though?
things
Wasn't
you could
it
get.
like a convenient. There was something.
Maybe. Yeah,
There was
yeah,
something weird even about
Right.
that.
He hasn't been to like Key Foods.
Well, think about where Trump Tower is, which is where he spent most of his life.
It's a food
They
desert.
did add a Trader Joe's underneath the Queensboro Bridge a few years back, but when he was living there, there's no grocery
was no
store.
Trader Joe's.
So, he dined in restaurants exclusively, I guess.
McDonald's exclusively.
Private chef.
God, it's so great. It's so funny because my mom was talking to my daughter yesterday, and my mom is the first person that took my daughter to McDonald's. Like we live in New
yeah,
York,
my
right? Like
mom
it's
too.
not
My
like the
mom
same.
too,
It's just like you
yes.
don't go to McDonald's in
Yeah.
New York in the same way.
No.
So but as a child, I fucking loved it, right?
We had
my
a birthday party there.
So
Loved
they were
it.
chatting about what they're going to do over Christmas, and my mom was like, "Oh, and I can take you to McDonald's." And then my daughter, who is 6, literally goes, I'm not sure about the quality of McDonald's.
That's a New Yorker.
That's a New Yorker.
What a great New Yorker.
But how is she a
Bless.
New Yorker and Donald Trump is a New Yorker? You know what I'm saying? Who believes so heavily? Which I mean,
It
and
is
it's
weird. His obsession with fast food is weird.
It's very weird considering
it's
where
not
he grew
New
up.
York.
It's very weird.
But it's Queens. Maybe that's his original
No, but Queens is
roots?
also
I don't know.
every of the best ethnic cuisine you could
exactly.
find in America.
Oh, he's never had anything
He hasn't had
that
any
is
ethnic
not
cuisine, no. He
quote
hasn't been
unquote
to any of
American.
those. Oh my
American.
God.
Every time Trump uses the word affordability and on Truth Social, whenever he writes it down, it's always in quotes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
as if it's
Yeah.
like this concept that I guess it exists, affordability.
So weird.
These people can't afford quote unquote milk. Never heard of that. Don't know
Right,
what milk
I
is.
know. It's so weird. So here's one thing that has happened. Inflation actually appeared to be up in September at about 3% annual increase, which is where it was when Biden left office. So around the time he was saying, I'm going to fix the affordability crisis, that was the number. And now it's still the
But
fucking
we have
number.
to give him time. You know what?
He's still-
We
yeah.
have to give him time. We're going to blame Biden for the economy until 2029 or whenever.
Totally.
It's Biden's economy
He's also
until it's good, and then
lost
it's fine.
50,000 manufacturing jobs since January. 50,000.
50,000. That's a
Which
lot.
is the-
It's almost as if he's not doing a good job, Negin. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
It's just, this is what I find baffling. I find baffling that they don't have any stories look, here's what okay, let's just talk about solutions for a second. Because we have to do everything in an ego basis. Charlie mentioned naming everything after Trump. Let's just do it so that it works, so that it happens. Here's another one of those things where I'm just like, just take the win, like a fake win, and just be like, oh my God, look, my tariffs, I don't know, this Belgium is buying more soy. That's great. And somehow just get Belgium to do a little thing, and then I'll add Luxembourg into them. It won't literally be a win at all. Those countries are so small. But just get a thing on the books call it a huge win and let's get out of it because it's clear,
this is everything that every woman has learned to do in our lives where we're like, it's your idea, man. And you're so strong and so wonderful, man.
Yes. Let's just do that until
every woman knows how to do this. And it's like so exhausting.
It's so
with
exhausting.
Every boss you've ever had. Not my husband.
Thank you.
I'm not my sweet perfect. But, it's like every woman learns subconsciously how to do this.
Yeah.
And boy, I'm sick of it.
I can't tell you how sick of it I am. It's really exhausting.
But if we say we're sick of it, then we're angry.
Right,
we're horrible, angry women for being sick of having to talk to every man in a certain way.
I think the tariff thing is wild because his whole campaign promises prices are going to go down on day one. We're going to get so-called grocery prices down on day one. And then
quote-unquote groceries.
Actually, what his day one thing is we're going to have a tax on everything coming into our country. And surprise, surprise, it hasn't worked out. And this farmer thing it's exactly what happened in the first term where he raises tariffs and screws over the farmers and then bails the farmers out.
Who voted for him?
But the fact that I watch NBC Nightly News every night, which...
Do you really?
Yep. Does.
Wait, do you record it or something?
YouTube TV, yeah.
Okay.
I watch it, and I skip through all those segments on weather, and it takes me 10 minutes. Okay, but I like knowing what the sort of baseline, down the middle, so corporate media is reporting every day. But I am the only person under 65 that watches it. But I really appreciate their story last night about the farmers. Every time they mentioned this situation, they said, Trump is going to bail out the farmers from the tariff costs that he imposed. And they said from the tariffs every time, and I appreciated that.
By the way, and not to be an obvious fucking NPR, PR person right now, but like they said that exact phrase on NPR this morning as well. Yeah. Just and it makes. I mean, obviously, what is like a person from South Carolina? Charlie, just be the representative of that entire state.
You can throw your accent back on.
Yeah. This is the time. Are they like fooled by any of this? By the farmers bailout and the whatever that he didn't cause? Does anyone believe that he didn't cause it?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the headline might as well be murderer vows to pay for hospital bills from, or assaulter pays for hospital bills, a person he knifed, I mean, it's like obvious. It's like, it's just so clear that he caused the problem.
I mean, I don't know. I think you, Cody, have some Trump folks in your family?
Not my family. My family is famously liberal, but I'm from Ohio. Okay, so I have a lot of Trump folks in my life.
In your life. And then
in general.
Has anyone... Yeah. I mean, have you heard them talk about affordability? Have you heard them complain?
Yes, people blame Biden. Yeah, I mean,
they still blame Biden.
Yeah, I think we are eternally online. We're listening to the news and listening to NPR, and I think most people do not have the time to listen. They're hearing sound bites. And a lot of people, if you're watching Fox News, you're getting a sound bite that has nothing to do with reality.
Any of this,
Oh, I mean, I think...
But you're feeling things, right?
You're feeling things are going up, and you think that it's still Biden's fault, and we need to give Trump time, and Trump is doing such a good time. Trump is doing such a good job of keeping us safe, and somehow it's the immigrants' fault. But I don't know why, but New York is scary. I heard that, and it's just like this soup of sound bites that you're just like, how is any of this making sense?
I think the election results, though, from November and the governor's races, I think it's showing that people are catching on.
Not buying it anymore.
And I think it's, I mean...
Even the race in Tennessee, which we didn't talk about. But there was a special election in Tennessee, and the progressive candidate was like quite progressive. She only, this is just funny to say, but she only lost by 9 points.
Which is,
But it was Trump 22.
It was a Trump, it was a plus 22 district, so it's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy that she was able to peel off that many votes.
I think people are they're uninformed, and they're not educated about politics or what actually actually causes prices to go up or down. And a year ago, they thought that their grocery bill, their Target bill was too high, so they didn't vote for Kamala. And I think a year from now in the midterms, Republicans are going to get routed just for the exact same reason. And it's sad for those of us who pay attention to politics and know what plan the Democratic Party has versus what the Republican Party would actually do if they could control everything, which they practically do now. But instead, it's just, well, whatever's happening. The reason why John McCain lost is because a Great Recession started. Otherwise, we would have never elected the first black president. But the economy crashed in 2008, and it was like, oh, Republicans bad. It's frustrating.
It's the cult of personality, too. Donald Trump can say whatever the hell he wants, and he has personality, he's charismatic, and people go, I don't like everything he says, but I like him. And I think in a way, Mamdani is similar. I'm sorry, I don't mean that they're similar in that way. But Mamdani was very light on policy. But he made up for it in personality.
He had like 5 policies that he repeated.
Policies.
Yeah.
He repeated them over and over.
Which is just, I think, smart.
It's smart because I voted for Brad Lander in the primary. I proudly voted for Mamdani in the general.
Yeah.
And Zoran was my second choice.
Same here. Brad Lander was my first choice.
But Brad Lander had very specific policy, progressive policy.
But nobody knew what they were.
You could look on education. You could look on that if you want a list of things that I'm actually going to do. But instead, people are like, you know what? I'm going off feels. I'm going off vibes. And I get it. I'm glad that we fought fire with fire. I'm glad that Zoran was like, affordability. He's the most on-message person.
Yeah.
Trump is not on message, but he says these big things like, it's going to be great. We're going to make something great. And people just go, you know what?
Yeah, he believes it. I think he can do it. He's a billionaire.
Long are the days where we need to hear policy stuff. Just give me vibes. What are the vibes?
I mean, and I want to, look, it's probably gotten worse because of social media and a lack of monoculture and all this shit. But people have always been into like men saying things in a convincing fashion,
right?
Or a man who is good looking who could say not that Trump was
not Trump,
saying
that
not
is
Trump, but like JFK,
famously.
right? Like JFK was the guy that had the benefit of television for the first time, and he was good looking, right? Yeah. So it's like that shit, like. The charisma, the look, all of that, the voice, the quality of the voice. I mean, I remember thinking like Jared Kushner has the body of a man who could run for office, but
his voice.
I laughed out loud the first time I heard that man speak.
I know,
because I feel like I'd seen photos of him
speak.
for like a year, and then the first time he speaks, it's like, oh no, he's not going to be a politician.
He's got a face for radio.
He's got the male version of vocal fry.
And I feel the same way about Brad Lander, if I'm being honest. I love Brad Lander, but he has like a sing-songy cadence
that doesn't work for people.
That it's tough. It's tough.
All right, folks. I don't know. Do you have people in your orbit who voted for Trump who are feeling like it's not working out economically? I'm so curious to hear. Hit me up, and let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into the next topic. And we are back, and we're ready for topic number 3. Guys, let's talk about Hollywood. Warner Brothers Discovery, which includes HBO, the Warner Brothers Film Studios, and CNN, among some other things, has had a big week. First, Netflix offered to buy them for $83 billion. That deal was in the works. The question of antitrust was already being dealt with. But then on Monday, Paramount came in with a hostile bid, offering to pay more at $108 billion. First of all, I haven't heard the term hostile takeover since like the movies.
Wall Street.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
Exactly. I just was like, I kind of like thought that didn't like happen anymore.
It's a great concept that you could hostilely give somebody a ton of money.
Yeah, I know.
And take their thing.
It's so weird. But also, isn't it like, isn't it just like, I'm negotiating with different parties and seeing which one comes. Why is it so hostile? Anyways, it's weird because I guess it's like it's about whether or not
the deal
board
was secured. And
the
now
board
we're
agrees
coming
to a
at the end.
deal, and then instead of they bypass the board and they go straight to the shareholder.
Have you guys
so that's
thought about
what
the
happens.
3 of us going in and putting in a bid?
I'm good for like at least $120.
Yeah, sure. We could probably do 200 each, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys.
Baller.
Hostile takeover from Fake the Nation. So I guess we're all in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So your two options on the table right now are, should Netflix have it or should Paramount have it?
Jeez.
I know.
And they're thinking about
There's like razors hidden
Barry
in both
Weiss
of those
having
cupcakes.
CNN too in her
Yeah.
arsenal. That's pretty scary. Aren't they both illegal? Don't we have antitrust laws for a reason?
Okay, so market share. So the big issue with Netflix taking over is that it is the second highest market share for content or whatever. The first one being YouTube. Now my first question, actually, before we get into all of that shit about antitrust, is, do you count YouTube? Now, Charlie, you just famously said you're a subscriber to YouTube TV.
And Charlie, one of the original YouTubers.
Yeah, no, I have a YouTube channel with 2 million subscribers.
So,
I don't use it as much as I used to. But
so tell me, is it the same as Netflix?
Well,
I mean, do you put them in the same category?
This is the argument that Netflix is going to make to the regulators, which is, yes, we are, the number one streamer, and we're trying to buy, I think HBO is like the number 3 streamer.
Yeah.
I might have those numbers wrong, but anyway, a major.
I think that's right.
A major streamer trying to buy
another major streamer.
Another major streamer that's a couple of numbers behind. And Netflix has said, yeah, but you shouldn't look at it like that. You should look at the market share of what people look at on screens. So you have to include TikTok, you have to include YouTube, you have to include video games, and Netflix has famously said that their competition is you going to sleep. Right? They want to keep you awake, because when you go to sleep, you turn it off. And I think that's kind of a fair point. I mean, I don't want this merger to happen. I don't really want either merger to happen because of the entertainment industry. I feel like in terms of the health of the entertainment industry, there was this boom time when all these new streamers were coming out, and there was Quibi, and there was every single entity was launching their own streaming service. Everybody got a streaming show. I got to make a show for Disney Plus, Pixar in Real Life. Check it out. And the money was flowing, and people were making original content, and it was great, and they were all losing money, and it was all venture backed. And then all of a sudden the investors said, no, we actually want to turn a profit in all these streaming services, and they started, things like Quibi started folding, and other mergers started to happen. So it's scary. There's a lot less stuff being made, and
also a lot less stuff for smaller creators.
Right.
The celebs are doing great. Tom Cruise is about to take over this podcast, I think, right? Like he does.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes.
He really needs it.
He needs the money, guys. Where are the ads for Tom Cruise's podcast?
Oh, gosh.
But it's also enshittification too, where the streaming services were great when they all started, and you could share passwords with your parents and your sister, and everything's great. We don't need to make money. And now it's like, no, actually, we're going to make you log in every time if you're logging in a different state than where your parents live. Not that I personally have experience with this. I get a lot of texts from my dad saying like, Netflix is mad at us again. Can you send us the code that just went to your email?
Yeah, and then but also it's funny because we ended up paying for a family plan, so that my parents and everybody could do what they have to do, and we still get logged out, right? So it's like you pay more, then you still get messed up, and you feel. I think the enshittification issue is huge, and it's funny because antitrust doesn't actually cover enshittification.
It should.
It really should, because I think I feel like, okay, we're all paying all this money, but our experience never gets better.
It doesn't get
better.
And
let's talk about ad breaks. I mean, the whole thing that was revolutionary about streaming services is that we were no longer going to watch commercials, which is not great. Not great for my wife, who's a commercial actress.
Some people make their money doing commercials, Charlie, and we're already losing commercials at a real rapid clip.
Has anyone heard of the voice of Woolite, ladies and gentlemen?
But for everybody else who's just trying to watch TV, we all grew up with commercials. We grew up before DVRs, and it was miserable. And now we're back to a pre-DVR existence, because it used to be when we were in our 20s and the 2000s and the aughts, you could fast forward through commercials.
Yeah.
And now we paid last year for Peacock, and paying it's like $8 a month or $10 a month for Peacock, and you still get ads. You have to pay double to get the version without ads.
And now I think we're getting to the point where whoever merges, whoever wins in this merger, I've heard that they might go back to some version of cable where okay, now we own HBO, we own these things, so you can pay more, one fee, but you can pay a little more to get this, a little more to get that. I'm like, that's called cable.
Yeah,
that's what you tried to explode, and now we're back to cable.
Was one? It's funny because it was like a financial structure that ended up being kind of fair or something to a lot of parties. You know, I mean, it was expensive.
Yeah, we used
and
to
I'm
get
not going to
Time
say it
Warner
wasn't
cable.
expensive.
Yeah,
It was definitely expensive, but like it could have stood to be cheaper. I also want to say one of the things that Netflix started to do was just sort of like pay people less.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I
And
mean,
so-
when you think about how much money as an actor you make on a Netflix show rather than a network
Oh, and there was a
show.
time, and
my
I'm sure
gosh.
you guys have heard this from managers where they just didn't even like that you would book something on Netflix, right?
because they make no money.
They don't make money. It's now that said, I have also always thought there are some actors at the top tier who make too fucking much.
Yeah.
Do, yeah.
And there's some producers who make too fucking much.
It's
and
across all industries, right? You can see how like the top
Yeah.
people are still making theirs.
Yeah.
And then all the way down is
so
the
then
squeeze.
it's like if you think and it's always like, okay, would you give up 10% of this already absurd fee
Nope.
so that everyone else can have a piece
No.
and this shit can even out? They
It's-
won't do it. And the
it's-
managers and the agents that run that town won't allow that, right? If they can get more, they'll fucking get more.
It's the fundamental problem with our country, with our economy.
Yeah.
It's the wealth gap. It's the top 0.1% controlling everything. And it's just getting worse and worse for everybody who's, at the bottom of that or even at the 98% mark and below. And it's why every 4 years we vote for a different party. It's why the pendulum keeps swinging because we're like, I'm mad. My life's getting worse. I'm going to vote for the other party. And that's why these dumb swing voters
Yeah.
keep going back and forth. But yeah, it's horrible. And the other thing that streaming services have done, it used to be if you were an actor or a writer and you booked a TV show, a CBS sitcom, then you would have 24 episodes over basically
all
that
those
was your
weeks.
entire year. You'd work from August until May making your show.
You'd take your
and
break, go on
You'd
vacation,
have the
come back,
summer
do it again.
off, and that's your job. And now it's like, congrats, your streaming service sold. It's going to be 6 episodes,
Yeah.
right? And actors are going to have 6 episodes. The writers are going to get 6 weeks of work. They're not going to even keep them on through production sometimes. So they really squeezed the actors and the writers.
And so then the celebrities, the top billing, are like, well, now I have the rest of my year. I'll go do this other show for 6 episodes. And they're doing all of that, which you used to go to.
And that top actor sucks so much of the revenue, so much of the budget, and it's not a great system. I think in what we're looking at right now, it's like 2 cupcakes that are both have razors inside of them. And the cupcake number 1 with Netflix, the razors are this will create much higher prices for streaming. There's there's not going to be enough competition. They can already streaming prices have gone up. They will dictate higher and higher prices. And then they'll also add a bonus in there, kill theatrical movies.
Yeah.
And so that fucking sucks just on a human experience level. And then the other cupcake is Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison will he already fucking installed Barry Weiss, as you said. And there's no, I don't doubt that he would do more. He would take CNN. He would make it right wing. He would do all that stuff. All that stuff I can picture happening. So
Yeah, well,
I want to say none of these.
Yeah, that's the razor with Netflix buying Time Warner is that, now all of a sudden you've got Trump is going to be owning CNN, or having influence over that. And by the way, it's wild that Trump just flat out said, I'm going to be highly involved in this deal.
Yeah, you're supposed to famously be not.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree, though, that we trust the decrepit old white men in our government to do right and understand the nuances of antitrust law and how to handle this responsibly, right?
I just want to close this by quoting Elizabeth Warren because she's like one of my favorites and listeners know this. But she said, this deal looks like an anti-monopoly nightmare threatening to force Americans into higher subscription prices and fewer choices over what and how they watch while putting American workers at risk. That was about the Netflix deal in particular.
Yeah, that sums it up.
So either way, none of this is looking nice, guys. And
good.
when in doubt, just look and see what Elizabeth Warren is saying about stuff. All right, my friends, that is the end of the show. What a delightful pair you are. I I'm glad you're married.
Oh, thank you.
We are too, yeah.
Oh, jinx,
Stop it, you guys. That was too cute. I would like for the people of Fake the Nation to be able to follow you and all the wonderful things you do. Where do they do that, Cody?
You can follow me on Instagram at Cody Linquist, LINDQUIST. And we also, you can follow our show at NIMBY Show. NIMBY_show on Instagram. We have monthly show at Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. We basically talk about all the stuff that's causing trouble in your neighborhood Facebook group.
Yeah, and you can follow me on Instagram at Charlie Todd. And yeah, as Cody said, at NIMBY_show. The show is called Not in My Backyard. Our next one is going to be on January 29th at UCB Theater here in New York City on 14th Street. And yeah, it's a local politics panel show. We've had Negin on before. We like to have comedians, journalists, and we've had a lot of politicians on lately. We've been having like council members and...
We're trying to get Zoran on. So
I don't know if you saw, but Zoran, there was just an article about him where he took classes at the Magnet Theater and said he dreamed of taking classes at the Upright Citizens Brigade, and that he used to wait in line for ASCAT, which is the Sunday UCB show. He would go see that every week.
So, Mr. Mayor, if you're listening, open invite. Anytime you want to come on the show, let us know.
Oh, my God.
It's just amazing that somebody who is an improv student, an improv fan of UCB is going to be our mayor in
and also
4
just
short
someone
weeks.
who knows New York City in multiple ways, right? Like
A
that
New
is
Yorker.
that is a
Yeah.
real
New
New Yorker.
He rides a city bike, he takes the train, he goes and waits in line for ASCAT to see the Sunday free show.
Yeah.
He's a New Yorker.
He's got a controversial bagel order. He's a New Yorker. All right. And you know where to find me and all the things I do. Just a reminder, I'm going to be in D.C. on December 12th. You can... I guess you just know where to find me. And I'm like, well, do I have anything else coming up? I have stuff coming up like in January and stuff. Whatever. We'll talk about those things later, folks. But I want to thank everyone who makes the show a possibility. That's our wonderful producer, Rob Heath. And thank you so much to Gaby for our theme music. You can email us at fakethenationpodcast@gmail.com. And otherwise, we'll be back in your earballs next week.